Welcome back to Modern Mommies here on soulgarden.tv. I am Alexis Ann Moore, the mother of a beautiful 3-year-old boy and the creator of the Superhero Children program. And with me, I have my wonderful co-host, Jennifer Perry, who is a mother of 3 beautiful children and has been working in the Dallas school system for 17 years and is currently working as an elementary school counselor. Hi, Jennifer. How are you this week?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. It's good to see you as always. And with us we have Mary Neva, who is the Soul Garden Ambassador of Children. Hello, Mary. How are you doing?
How are you?
Oh, Mary also has 11 siblings, so she is well versed on all things multi-child related. So it's wonderful to have you with us, Mary.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
So, so on this show today, we're going to be discussing, we're going to be discussing meditation in the schools, and because a lot of really neat stuff has been going on with that, and we're going to be sharing tips and tricks on at-home first aid, things to do in the moment, and we're also going to have our hot daddy of the week. So stay tuned for that. And to start us off, we like to discuss something that's going on in the world, just to keep up on that, and also to well, I'm very opinionated, and I love to throw down on that. So with that in mind, Jennifer, what is going on this week?
Well, okay, I found a story that kind of depends on which headline you read, but basically what they're saying is there is a group, a human rights group out of Berlin, who has filed criminal charges against, like, the director of the CIA and Donald Rumsfeld and Bush and all of his little friends, Bush and Company, as I like to call them, for war crimes due to the whole Senate report that came out about the torture that we were doing to the prisoners to get out information. So there's this human rights group out there that has gone and filed criminal charges against them, and they're demanding an investigation into it, and they want to charge them with war crimes, like international war crimes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Crimes against humanity.
Exactly. You know,
okay, who is this group again?
It's called the European Center for Constitutional and Human Rights. So they're a human rights group out of Berlin. Now, some headlines are saying Germany has filed war charges, but really when I went and investigated that and dug deeper, it isn't Germany. It's a human rights group in Germany who's done that.
Now, I wonder if, I mean, is a human rights group able to have that go down? I mean, because it seems like in the whole, you know, legal, I don't know what national legal rules and requirements are, but, you know, for a small group to take on the, not just the former U.S. government, but like the scariest people in it.
In the world, I know.
Yeah.
You know, what was interesting, though, is international law. Actually, I think every country, except for the United States, their laws are set up where anybody can bring charges against somebody else or another entity or corporation. We're like the only country who's set up where we have to go through the prosecuting attorney, and then the prosecuting attorney decides whether they're going to file charges or even do an investigation. And
Wow.
so, yeah.
So I'm wondering if they've had a lawyer willing to take it on. So, okay, so a long, long time ago, my dad had his own political group called Americans for Voice in Government. And he started it himself, and he was trying to sue the president, okay? He wanted to for saying one thing and doing another or something like that. I don't know, or at least he considered it, and he's very libertarian, and he couldn't find one lawyer willing to do it, even though he had a very strong case. It's all about whether or not you have a lawyer that's crazy enough to go, okay, yeah, I'll do this. But of course, you know, you think Germany, and you're like, you know, there's got to be one wild, crazy person there.
Well, and what's the group is made up of all lawyers. And that's what's kind of ironic about the situation. So it's a group of human rights lawyers who are really pushing for this and trying to bring charges against them. They really took the take of, if United States, if you're not going to take care of it and hold these people accountable, then we'll hold the people accountable. And so it was really all brought upon by when the Senate released that report, really admitting all of the terrible and horrible things that we were doing to those prisoners. And once that got out, you know, the whole world was outraged.
Absolutely.
So, yeah. What was also interesting, though, is in the research I found that when they polled American citizens, 51% of them were okay with using enhanced interrogation techniques. You know, that fancy word of torturing people to get information. 51% of us said that we were okay with that, which was really, I don't know. That was kind of upsetting to me because, I don't know, maybe I'm the only one out there that thinks that this is horrible, and it doesn't matter where you live or who you are, you don't need to be tortured. You know, things like that don't have to happen to you. So I just found that interesting.
It's a combination of things. It's like, no, okay, I'm not going to say no, there aren't people out there that think it's okay. I mean, there are some really sick people out there that are very convinced of their value system. And also, you know, it's kind of a bit of a narcissist thing. Our society has created like a culture of it. So if these people went and promoted Bush and friends when he was president and said, "Oh, he's great, and you're crazy if you don't like him," and then they find out later that he was a psychopath, and as Rumsfeld and all of them, it'd be really hard to go back and say, "Oh, my bad," you know. So instead, they're gonna like say, "Oh, we're totally okay with what he did," because otherwise, I'm an idiot and I have to admit it, you know, or something. It's kind of like a slight narcissist mentality. Also, unfortunately, in this society, it's very unfortunate. We have, for so very long now, we have put teaching ourselves and having self-love, like loving ourselves and knowing how to make right choices. We have put that well below, like showing your worth with power and money. Like that's most important, and if you happen to love yourself after, then that's okay, but you probably won't, you know what I mean? So that's how things like this come to be. That's how politicians like this get to be up there, because we allow these people without, I would like, rather than telling me what you're going to do with the budget and the this and the that and the everything, because, you know, we don't believe most of what any politician is saying. I want to see proof that you love yourself and that you didn't follow the group and that you listen to your own voice. And, like, if I can see a candidate that truly loves themselves enough to follow their own heart, then I would vote for that person. I have not seen one, really. I don't know. Ron Paul seemed kind of like he loved himself.
You know, though, I think they all start out that way, and then the powers that be, the people who actually can make the decision, because you have a choice. You can either do it our way and be our puppet, or you go off to wherever and disappear.
Right.
I think, you know, so I think everybody starts out with the best intentions, and then reality sets in. But it's even scarier because, you know, Bush and Cheney and all of them, they weren't the ones in the prisons torturing the people. Right. So that means that there were enough sick people to sit and listen to that command and go ahead and do it, which, I don't know. It's just not okay.
Could you imagine, though? Could you imagine if there was just one of those military, I don't know who it was doing that exactly, I don't know, but one of those people, if just one of them knew it was wrong and didn't at all want to do that, but was so terrified of what would happen to them if they didn't obey orders or follow along with the herd, like we talked about last week with the unions, the police unions, and how tight they are, and you don't go against what the group is saying. If could you imagine being that one person who's like forced to do that, even though it goes against everything that you know is right? Like, oh God, that would destroy you for life. Talk about post-traumatic stress.
Mhm.
Do you think that these people that are doing it are so afraid of what may happen if they weren't able to get the information they needed for these people that are attacking the country? Are they so afraid that this is the only way that we're going to succeed? Otherwise, we'll have another 9/11. Why haven't they invented something less traumatic that would maybe do the same thing as the torture, but maybe not as horrible? You know, something that they can inject them and get the truth, and then be fine. Just get what they need, but without the torture.
Because people like them go into power to be able to do that stuff, you know? Like, okay, oh man, do I have a way to draw on here? Is there a drawing thing? No? Okay, I just totally lost our screen. What did I do? No.
No, you're fine.
No. All right, so I'm going to grab a piece of paper real quick, and I'm going to show you. Now, I teach this in my superhero children class, and the kids get it. But on my very first day of college philosophy, the professor wrote this on the wall, and he said, "This is like a foundation in philosophy, like a foundation principle. So you have the greatest good right here. You can't see that?
Can you put that closer to the camera?
No, you can't see.
Do you have a magic marker or something?
You'll need a marker.
Yeah.
You know, and okay.
Like, everything you need is within arm's reach. Isn't that funny? All right. So here you have the greatest good. You still can't see that, can you?
Well, hold on, and maybe the camera will
Oh, there we go. Way back here. Okay.
Yeah.
And then here's a person. This is us. I'm an artist, but I'm terrible at drawing. Still can't see that. Okay, well, basically, here's the deal. So the person and the greatest good, which is basically love. It's like everything you would imagine when you think of God, or okay. So the greatest good of anything you could possibly need to live a beautiful, loving, amazing life is right here. And the natural human path is to go straight to it. Okay? Now, some people are born into the world and don't believe that they deserve the greatest. They're taught that they're not worth it, that it won't come to them because of whatever. They're not smart enough, or they're this, or they're that, or they're just not worthy. So they go off the path over here to money, or over here to power, or over here to fame, or fame, money, and power, okay? But it's off the path. And once they get off the path of the natural human, that greatest good is not there. They think it is. They think, I'm not going to be worth the love and everything until I get the fame and the power. And then they're off the path, and they're totally off of it. And so that's what happens with people like them, okay? So, like, they just truly in their heart don't even understand that everything that they're seeking is totally, it's not fulfilling. You know, so they keep going and going and going. They need more proof that they're even more powerful, so that then I'll be worthy. But it's never going to come, and so they're like completely power hungry. That's what this 1% wealth thing is about too. I mean, seriously, like, when do you have enough? I mean, it's got to be boring at some point, you know. You know?
Yeah.
And he's letting me get that out. So that was incredibly awkward. So my son is sick, and he's here. He's usually with his father when I'm filming, but he's here. And that entire time I was trying to do that awkward thing, he was in the background trying to get me to sword fight. I don't know if you caught that.
No, but that's interesting.
He's
Good going.
mad.
Multitasking. It's wonderful.
Here we go.
Ah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the problem. That's the problem. And there needs to be some way to like do a heart test on people. And I don't mean like your EKG. Is that mind? Is that heart? EKG? I don't know. Man, I'm talking about like seriously, like do you understand the concept of love and the greatest good? I mean, and I don't mean like, you know, Hitler thought he knew what the greatest good was. I'm talking about like, do you know how to make a decision just simply for the fact that it feels right, like the right thing to do? Like, is that really that unusual? Seriously? In politics,
Yeah.
I mean,
You would, yeah. The idea that you don't hurt people.
yeah.
Is that unusual? Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. And, you know, kind of back to what Mary was saying when she was talking about, is there another way that we could get that information and things like that? I think what scares me about that is I think if we were to go and ask Saddam Hussein, he would think probably that there was important information he needed to get out of American soldiers. And so I don't think we should do anything to anybody that we wouldn't want done to ourselves or our own soldiers. You know, and so I think, I don't know, it's just such an ugly situation. I think
really,
we should just.
it's all power hungry to begin with. I mean, what are we doing there in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing there? There are so many soldiers, so many military personnel out of the country and in somewhere that we don't need them to be there. That if they came home, we would have like this crazy influx of people in this country. There are so many people that we wouldn't even know what to do with them. Like, why? Why do we need all those people in other countries? Okay, so I was sitting under my tree years ago thinking about this and thinking, what the fuck? Like, how do we do this, okay? Because, like, my generation of the kids who were the wayward children of the 90s, you know, latchkey kids and stuff, we saw from our parents that our parents were not happy. So, so we were kind of the first generation to have enough time spent alone, up to our own devices, and kind of pairing up with our friends, and just not really trusting the adults because we could see that they weren't happy. And you know, the John Mayer song, "The World Changed." That song speaks to me a lot because it's saying like, we know there's something wrong. They're not fighting fair, so we're just waiting on the world to change, you know. And that's kind of like how I feel about this generation of parents. Is that's where we're coming from. So these children are coming out now that are so aware, and I don't think it's necessarily that they're more aware than other generations of children, but it's that the adults, us, that are the parents of these young children, are aware as well, and we didn't feel like we had a voice, and so we're allowing them to have one finally. And it's a really amazing thing I'm seeing happen. And I play that song, "Waiting on the World to Change." I play it for my students to show them, like, this is where your parents, this is where we're coming from. This is why we are so happy that you're taking this class and learning how to follow your heart. So years and years and years ago, I was sitting under the tree in Austin, and I'm thinking, what the hell, man? And everybody knows this is not right, but we're just like so scattered and nobody's coming together to do anything. We feel so helpless. What needs to happen? And so I created the Superhero Children program. And I use science so that I do not infringe on any religious ideals. All of my students have different religious backgrounds, and all the parents love what we're doing, and that's why I use science. So I can teach this in public schools. But I'm teaching everything I was saying, how to feel your heart. I'm teaching kids like 1st to 5th grade and older, but the fact that 1st graders get this is awesome. The actual science of self-awareness, not just I'm okay, you're okay, let's just be happy, but this is what happens. You know, this is how our thoughts transfer into electromagnetic signals that then alter the water molecules in your body and in the water molecules around you. So if you are feeling crummy, your body is going to respond, and all the cells in your body, and the electromagnetic signal you're sending out to others is going to feel like that, and you know what it feels like to be around people like that. But when you feel like this, and light, and jolly, and you have a charged feeling about you, then your body and your cells and your health and your friends and everything else kind of, it all goes along with that, how we're creating our world. And most importantly, by the end of the 2 semesters, they are so aware of the energy flow in their body that they can say, when I think of that option, I feel like this. When I think of that, I feel like trust and love themselves. Haha, that's the key to do and have the courage to do anything that makes them feel like that. Part of the Superhero Children Project, which is working on getting funding. Right now I need funding. I just put in the paperwork to become the nonprofit, but to teach this worldwide. And it's like I've got a 10-year plan for world domination of teaching love. Like, this is, you hear people talk about the love revolution, and I'm like, you know what, like, let's do it. But you got to teach the kids, so that when they grow up, it's like, well, of course we just love ourselves and do what feels good. What are you talking about? That's crazy to not do that, you know? Because these adults are too far gone, you know? Just too far gone. And the ones that know better, we've just been beaten down for so long. We're just like, please, somebody, we need a superhero. Superhero Children, that's the name of my class, by the way. All right, so that's a really good segue. It's not really, it's a very much a segue into talking about meditation in the schools, which has been, I've been seeing a lot about this, something going on in San Francisco. Jennifer, what's going on? What's the latest? I know there's been a lot of information coming out, and something about San Francisco doing this in their schools.
Yeah, they've taken entire schools and they've started teaching mindfulness and meditations in the schools, and they're seeing this huge drop in like attendance, like tardies and absences, and a huge increase in like their testing scores. And so it started out with like this really gang-ridden school where they were having they would be sitting in class and hear gunfights on the streets. And they've taken that entire school and just completely turned it around with using transcendental meditation and teaching the kids it. And so like 2 times a day, everything stops, and they have a 15-minute time of just meditation. And, you know, they started out where they had to teach it to them, but now the kids have gotten to where they use it naturally. And whenever they need it, they kind of stop.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I teach it in every class. We do our breathing, our grounding meditation, and our heart breath meditation. And they're like, okay, we've done this a lot. I'm like, I know, and we're going to do it every single class, so that when you are in the moment and something's going down and you need to ground yourself really quick so that you know you're going to make the right choice, you need to be able to do it in 3 seconds. Like, boom. Breathe in, out, you're good. You got to practice that. I'm wondering, a lot that I have noticed with working with my students is that, for example, kids in the school system that are considered hyperactive, they get in trouble a lot, okay? Because they're not sitting still in their desk, and that's what you're supposed to do in school. And unfortunately for them, that's what you're supposed to do. So I've noticed that those kids come in with kind of this, they already associate themselves as the bad kid. You know what I mean? Because they're always getting in trouble. So they're just totally okay with that, that role now. And after 2 semesters of working with them and reminding them, you get to choose how you're going to show up in the world. So it's up to you. It's not up to them. Like, finally, they, like, become their inner light. And I'm wondering if in these schools, I went to a rough school for a semester. Rough enough to where when the principal walked outside and saw me sitting not in the courtyard with the white kids, but out on the grounds, like, hanging out, he grabbed me and said, "You're not safe here," and pulled me back to the, it was a Vanguard program there, pulled me back to the Vanguard little nerdy kids, and I was like, I cannot believe that you just said that in front of all of those students. You just completely disregarded them and said to me in front of them, "I'm not safe here." That's so screwed up. And he didn't even realize. So he was telling those kids, we expect you to be this way, but we don't expect her to be this way, you know? And I'm wondering if there's been an effect on the teachers and the way the teachers are relating to the students.
Oh, I would think so. Absolutely. Because, you know, it all starts with you. So when the teachers had to start using it with the children, the teachers had to do it themselves first. And so I think they naturally had kind of a change within themselves as well. The story did say that it took a little while a buy-in, because at first they were like, what? This is hippie stuff, you know. We're not going to sit around the tree and sing Kumbaya. But as it started working and they started to see this huge change in the kids, they were like, oh, wow, holy crap, this stuff works. And then the buy-in just started, you know, accumulating like a snowball.
Okay, so I'm going to say, I want to interject here and say that I studied shamanic meditation for 3 years. Like, I went through shamanic initiation for guided meditations, and that was a wild 3 years of my life, I'll tell you. And now I use my guided meditations with my students. I don't use, like, the words like shamanism and things like that because it doesn't translate well in the public school setting. But we do guided meditations, and the kids love it. They're so good at it. But I had to go, and I went and took a continuing education course just for my own self at Austin Community College after getting my bachelor's degree at U of H in conceptual quantum physics, because I needed a language to be able to tell people the stuff that is more true for the human experience. Like, it is the ultimate truth, but it gets disregarded as hippie stuff all the time. I mean, like, Einstein talked about it. Darwin talked about it, and yet it's swept under the rug of like, oh, isn't she a cute little hippie? It's like, no, listen, like, we're talking about photons here, you know, like
this is serious science.
This is serious, you know. You got to ground your electrical current just like we do with the houses and cell phone towers and every other damn thing. We don't ground ourselves, and we're the most important, you know, like. That's not hippie stuff. It's science. So, like, I know some hippies, and they're awesome. And they were, like, doing their thing in the 60s, and I wasn't even around in the 60s. And what they did was amazing. And I love my friends that are real hippies. They're super awesome. But I'm not one. I'm not a hippie. Just because I talk about love. Don't sweep that under the rug as being cute. It's the only thing in this world that's real, okay? Love and fear. You get to choose. Don't be a Rumsfeld. Public service announcement for today. So, yeah. So what else have they been finding? I mean, I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. So what do you have an idea of what kind of meditation? You say transcendental meditation. I thought they were just having a 15-minute quiet time.
Well, that's what well, you know, in the article they went so far and called it transcendental meditation. I know, yeah, like in my school, I could never use that word. I would have to use like mindfulness and visualizations and things like that. But really, what they're doing is the exact same thing. You know, they're teaching the kids to quiet their mind, you know, and find that space of time where, you know, you don't have all of those messages and those thoughts racing around your head. Yeah, and so
I've always been terrible at that. I've never been able to do the kind of meditation where you sit there and find your inner silence. Like, I don't have that. My meditations, I go on journeys. Like with my students, we have one. This is one I use so much. My kids love it. But for shamanic meditation, or what I call guided meditations, you get your senses involved. So, like, you're full on, and your body believes that you're there because, okay, so we do an elephant back ride. This is really great for calming down an active child, okay? So try this, okay? Make it up on your own. It's not hard to imagine what it'd be like to ride on an elephant back. But we close our eyes, we do a grounding breath. On the Superhero Children YouTube page, there is a heart breath meditation that I suggest all parents watch and learn, because if you teach it to your kids, it's a very useful tool. And that's the one we do in every class. That's the one. So we do our grounding breath, and then we close our eyes, and we keep it dark in our eyes, but we smell. And we say we smell this musty smell, and we can feel like heat under our legs and the prickly hair of an elephant back. And we open our eyes in our mind, and we see that we're on this elephant, and we can see the jungle trees all around us, and we can hear the birds, and we can feel the heat from the elephant's back, and then we slowly start walking. And we just walk through the jungle. And by the time we get to the end, we're like so chill. It really works.
Yeah.
We do another one of jaguar, like sleek and awesome and powerful, running through the jungle and climbing the tree and being like a badass jaguar. And that's for like overcoming anxiety or like being shy. Or if you're like shy, you just like get into that jaguar feel. And once you feel it, when you feel it with all of your senses and you go there and you know what it feels like to be a jaguar, like you don't have to do the meditation to call it in the minute. Like when I'm a musician, when I'm getting up solo acoustic on stage, I do a lion meditation like really quick in my mind. I just, okay, that's right. I got this. I'm badass. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know how to black out my mind though. I've not ever been able to do that.
You know, some of that, I went to a training, and it was really interesting because the first training I went to, they were like, just quiet your mind and, you know, don't think about anything else. And I was like you, I didn't really know how to do that. I was like, how do you do that? I don't understand. You know, is everybody else doing that? And I'm looking around and thinking that I'm screwing up or doing something wrong. But then this next class, and they were so good because they actually like talked you through it. And so they, you know, they went through the whole, okay, we're going to take some breaths in and close your eyes. And I want you to, what he started with is telling us to focus on something, because it's really hard to say focus on nothing if you don't even know how to hyper-focus on something. And so he started that first. We were just hyper-focusing like on a flag on the screen. And then he had us kind of draw back. And as we were like focusing on different parts, he would say stuff like, notice if a thought comes into your mind, and let it go and let it move on through your mind, and then go back to focusing on, you know, the shoestring or the flag, whatever we were focusing on. And he said that by doing that over and over and over with kids or with yourself, that eventually they'll get to where when that thought comes in, they'll notice, oh, okay, this is just a thought. I'm going to let it pass on by, and then continue to focus and, you know, pay attention to whatever I'm paying attention to. And so it was really cool to watch him go through that and show us exactly how to quiet our mind, to exactly, you know, how to make sure that those thoughts and everything aren't getting in the middle. Because it's easy to get in the middle of everything, especially when you're saying think about nothing. Because as soon as you tell me to think about nothing, that's when I'm thinking about everything, you know, my list and what I got to do next and what I'm doing tomorrow. But if you say focus on the blue flag, I can put all my attention onto the blue flag, and that kind of teaches you, because then if I can put all my attention on one thing, then I can figure out how to do the exact opposite and try to think of nothing. But it was really kind of an interesting way on teaching kids how to focus and quiet their thoughts in their mind.
You know, I had this conversation just a few days ago. Oh, shh. With his movie is not turning on. But I had this conversation with my friend a few days ago, and he said the same thing. He does his meditations in the shower, because I was saying it's hard to find a place to meditate these days with as a mommy. I used to do it all the time. I had like a tree with a fire pit, and I could spend days there. Oh my God. Quiet. But he does his in the shower, and I was like, that's a great idea. And he said he does the same thing you do, about how he just acknowledges them and they float on by. I'm gonna have to try that. Mary, yeah. Are you able to do that? Do you meditate? Do you have an easy time doing that?
It took me a long time to allow myself, I should say, the quiet and the peacefulness to do this, because I was so busy with everything but myself for so long. I didn't give myself time to listen and quiet down. And physically, I realized that if I didn't do this, that I was going to get sicker or not heal as well. And it wasn't until I started that I realized that um, nothing out there is so important that I can't take 10, 15 minutes of my time for me to
Mm-hmm.
relax.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing is important.
Right. And just that little bit of time a day gives back to your body and your soul and everything so much. You know, like the research said that if you'll just do, I think it was like 3 or 2 10-minute little times a day, that's enough to make huge changes. And so it was cool that it didn't take very much time to even kind of start incorporating that in there. And then the benefits, you reap so many more benefits.
And I think the uh, medical profession now is realizing, at least the people that I'm in touch with, realizing that their patients need is so bad in order to get better with whatever
Mm-hmm.
diagnosis they have. It's imperative that they take time for themselves, or they won't
Mm-hmm.
get better.
Absolutely. It's integrated. You know, that whole mind, body, spirit has to be integrated. That's
Oh,
like,
it so
yeah.
is. This is going to sound Looney Tunes. I don't care. I mean, you know, I experiment with life with myself. I am like a human. What's the meaning of life experiment? And I try things. So when Zane was small enough to still be having like full big bottles of milk, he dropped it on my toe and it broke like
Mm.
hardcore. He was so little, and I curled up in the fetal position in the bathroom. It's just, I couldn't scream and scare him. It wasn't his fault. I
Mm.
didn't want to scare him, but it hurt so bad. So I got up and I like stumbled my way to the kitchen, and as I'm filling up a bag of ice, I look at my toe and I said, "Look, toe, like I'm a single mom. I cannot be having this with a baby, you know?" I said, "Look, toe, I get it. I get it. You're broken. Now, I have a baby and I can't be crying from pain. So please just don't swell and don't hurt, and I'll just be extra careful with you." And I swear, like it was purple, okay? Like it wasn't just like a little broken, it was really broken. By the time I got that bag of ice and then I went back into the bathroom to scoop him up, my sweet little boy, he got on all fours and leaned over and kissed my toes. I can't believe,
Oh,
like, I don't know how he knew to do that. And then we went into the bedroom and laid down for him to go to sleep. And by the time it was all like maybe 5 minutes, by the time we got to the bed, my toe was no longer swollen and no longer hurt. And it was definitely broken because you could feel where the bone was broken. And anytime I forgot it was broken and acted like it wasn't, it reminded me real quick, hey, we had a deal, you know? Like, that really happened. I was like, holy crap, I just did that.
Mhm.
But it's about our belief system. I mean,
absolutely.
you know,
Mhm.
there are like aboriginals. I don't know how they do what they do. Like I don't really know what they do, but they do stuff like that. So I've read in anthropology books. I don't know. I'm not there. I don't know.
Mhm.
Try.
Wouldn't it
If
be
you don't
nice?
work, don't try. Go, because you're just wasting your time. If you
Wouldn't it
believe
be
you're
nice
sick,
though
that
that
you deserve,
right?
huh?
I was going to say, wouldn't it be nice that we chose to heal ourselves like that? Um, at least 50% of the time that we learn to heal ourselves like that before we do anything outside of our lives, that we believe in ourselves enough that we know that we can be okay and it will get better.
You know, the amazing thing that I've noticed is now every time I've done that since,
Uh-huh.
it's it's a direct conversation between you and your body will actually tell you. It's like it comes to you in thoughts, but it's like a deal. Like, okay, I'm listening to you. You say that to your body. I love you. Thank you so much for being the vehicle for my soul to have as much fun and beauty and excitement and adventure in this world as I can. I am really grateful to you. Please don't be hurting right now. Let's just heal this. What do you need from me? You know, like I need you to be aces by tomorrow because I have that really great blah 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 to do. What do you need from me? And it'll tell you. And You just have to listen. Like, you got to really listen and trust yourself and love yourself and know that love and, like, magic is not like hocus pocus and a magic wand. Magic is love and like loving yourself enough to, like, be aware that stuff really can happen. Like, love your body. Your body is an awesome machine. Oh my God, it's like the most freaking awesome machine ever. It's so cool. It really is. I know. I get so excited about stuff, but, like, the heart is the first thing that develops, and, like, your heart speaks to your mind more, your brain more than your brain speaks to your heart. Like, your heart is the electromagnetic center of your entire body, and it's just amazing what we can do. It is so cool.
Yeah. If people only knew their real power.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that is so true. Well, I know that we have some awesome mommy tricks that we want to go over before the show's over. So we'll do mommy tricks, and then we'll come back and let Alexis tell us all about her superheroes program, because I want to hear about that too, so we can learn all that good stuff. All right, so this week we have mommy tricks and things that you can use around the house for when you're a little kid.
Are we there? Are you there, Jennifer?
Uh-huh.
Oh, there we go. We had a momentary interruption, but we're
That
okay.
was crazy. I was sitting there talking. Did y'all hear me?
No.
Okay. Well, I went on to mommy tricks. What were y'all talking about?
We were doing a commercial. Go ahead with your mommy tricks.
Okay. So seriously, y'all heard nothing I said?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. So this week on mommy tricks, we have got a bunch of mommy trick ideas that you can use for whenever your kiddos get hurt around the house. So the very first one that I have is how to remove a splinter. I'm telling you, like 2 weeks ago, my baby was climbing one of those wood fences, and she slipped, and she got the hugest splinter stuck in her foot.
Oh.
And she's really good at letting me try to get it at night. And so at night, I'll kind of try to dig around, but that thing was so deep. And then a couple days later, I found this idea. But what you do
After.
I know. Go figure.
After severely wounding your child with tweezers.
Yes, taking pens and needles and everything. But you take baking soda and a little bit of water and make it into a paste and put it over the splinter and cover it with a Band-Aid and let it sit there for 24 hours. And for whatever reason, the baking soda makes the skin kind of swell up a little bit, and it pushes the splinter out to where it's hanging out, and you can just grab it with the little tweezers. And then it doesn't even hurt your kiddos. And so I thought that one was, a pretty cool idea. I wish I would have known it a little bit earlier. But at least now y'all know it now.
You live and you learn.
So true. So true. Do you want to talk about aloe vera?
Oh, yeah. That's just an easy, quick one for all kinds of stuff. Burns, irritated skin. My son, oh, my gosh. So a few months ago, we had a show where we talked about, I was talking about how my son never gets sick. And he has not been, he's maybe been well like a couple of weeks since that show because he started school. Oh, my God, it's one thing after another. And so he had the flu a few weeks ago, and I started giving him pineapple juice for the cough, and it turns out he's allergic to pineapple juice because he's had this, like, irritation on his face, and I didn't know where it was coming from, and I did not ever think it would be pineapples. I mean, the kid loved pineapples before this. So his face, it's like he's sick, he's blowing his nose, he's got this red stuff on his face. This is just it's just terrible what's going on here right now. The aloe vera. I just ran outside yesterday, cut off a leaf, wiped it on his face, and it is like almost over. So that's a good one to have.
I love aloe vera. It works on burns
Yeah.
too.
Sunburns, that happens with the kids big time. It's yeah, aloe vera, definitely have some in your backyard.
Yes,
You never know when you'll need it.
that is so, so true. Okay, I have another one for you. Ice packs. 2 weeks ago, when my daughter, right before the show, was practicing the skateboard in the house like she shouldn't have been.
Is that what happened?
Yes.
God.
So, y'all, how bad is that? I'm in complete makeup, and we're going into the ER, and they're like, what happened? And she said, I fell. I was playing with my skateboard in the house. And both the nurses look at us like, hello, you terrible parents. And we're like, So I'm kind of looking at Damon. I'm like, gosh, Damon, why weren't you watching her?
Just backstory, everybody. If you didn't notice, that a couple of weeks ago we did not air, and we did not give any explanation why, and that is because we were all here on time, ready to go, looking fabulous, hair done, makeup done. We were at the point of 3, 2, 1, and we're live, and then all of a sudden, the most horrific shrieks of pain. It just killed my heart, and Jennifer had to go to the emergency room right then and there, because that's what happens when you're a mommy. That's what happens. That's why I just had to have a sword fight, you know.
Did she break her wrist?
Is she doing okay?
Yeah, she's okay. And it was just, they said, a sprain, but it was the same arm that she had just broken, I guess, a year ago.
Okay.
And so, but that swelling, man, I thought for sure that it was broken.
Oh, yeah.
But they put her in one of those, gel splint casts so she wouldn't move it and stuff like that to protect it. But yeah, she's better now. Right? Oh, yeah. So, but I wish I would have had that then, because we tried to give her ice. But ice, it hurts because it's hard and it's clumpy and things like that. And so I found a little do-it-yourself ice pack, the ones that you get in the nurse's office that stay gushy and they don't hurt. And it was super easy. All you had to do was take like a Ziploc storage bag, and you take half water, and then you take half alcohol. And if you want to be cute, like she clearly had way more time on her hands than I did, she added food coloring, and then she added glitter and sequins, and she sealed the bag up and made it really cute and stuck it in the freezer. But what it actually does is it doesn't totally freeze into those hard blocks, so that way when you're putting it on your kids, it doesn't hurt. It more turns into that gel stuff, and it molds to their arm better. It's just not so painful. And so I thought that was a really cool idea and super, super cheap to make.
Wow. So what's the ingredients in that again?
Just water, alcohol, and then she got fancy and put food coloring, sprinkles. Yeah, but the alcohol prevents the water from freezing and makes it kind of gel. And so it just keeps it soft, but it gets super, super cold, just as cold as if it was frozen.
Any particular type of alcohol, like rubbing alcohol? Or
Yeah, just rubbing alcohol. I guess you could use your vodka, but I wouldn't waste it on that. Just saying.
That would be that's the grown-ups cold pack, like here you got a little this, a little this.
Take a straw.
Good first aid kit.
The other one that I found was we swim a lot, and for swimmers' ears, that's like one of the most painful things in the entire world. And you can make an easy, simple solution. I'm screen sharing at the same time. Sorry. To help with swimmer's ear, and you do like a little squirt bottle, and again, it's just half rubbing alcohol, half white vinegar, and mix it up, and then you can put 5 to 10 drops in each ear, and that will help draw out the water. I know that my youngest one, even if we're not swimming, when she does bass and all of those things, and she gets water in her ears, it hurts. And so we use that in there, and it'll just draw it out and help alleviate that pain and that water that's getting stuck down in there. And so that's another super easy one that you can take care of, and that's stuff that you probably just have lying around your kitchen.
Yeah, really. I'm so glad to hear those things because I know a lot about healing. I know a lot about natural healing. I know a lot about plants, but having a child that's getting hurt all the time, like those aren't things that I just already knew, you know. 'Cause that doesn't
Yeah.
happen to me. Like, you
Yeah.
know, I know about, tea tree steams for congestion and stuff, but you can't do that with a 3-year-old. So, so that's good to know those things. I'm definitely going to be trying them out.
Yes. I also saw, I never heard this, I'll tell you this one. If your kiddo has a sore throat, you can take marshmallows. The gelatin in the marshmallows does something and coats the throat. Now, I know that's probably not the healthiest thing in the world because it's lots of sugar. And honey, natural honey might be better. But I had never seen the marshmallow idea.
You know, marshmallow is a plant. Like, it's a healing plant, and it's actual not the white puffs of sugar, but the actual marshmallow root is a healing plant for soothing.
So maybe there's a little bit left in the processed crap that helps. Yeah, but I've seen recipes where you make your own marshmallows, and so if you did it naturally, that might be a good way to help soothe sore throats.
Interesting.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, now let's, without further ado, bring on our hot daddy of the week. Wait, I never do that again.
Screen share. All right, here is our hot daddy.
Modern Mommies would like to honor as our hot daddy of the week Charles Munoz for being an awesome daddy. Look at that. He's a baby wear. And look at that happy little girl. And look, she has her backpack on. You see that?
Oh.
Happy and daddy. Oh, you can't see her.
Where is she?
Well, you've got it really tiny.
Oh.
Can you make it bigger?
Let me see. I think so. Let me see what I got here. Okay, yeah, let me make it bigger.
Whoa, haha.
Can y'all see him now? There she is. Can you see her?
No. Do you see her?
Well, I can't. Okay.
So, hey, today, public service announcement too. Mercury has officially gone into retrograde. So, just let it go, you know?
There we go. Yeah.
Just be okay with it. So,
there she is.
Happy little girl wearing her backpack wearing like Daddy's baby wearing. So this is from our Nadia, who was on our show for a few times as a mommy, and she's going to come back on at some point to show us about baby wearing. She says that Charles is a totally hot daddy for helping me handle both the kiddos, both at home and when we're out. He's a stellar father and provider.
Oh, and that's her new baby, isn't it?
That's the baby.
Yay!
Baby wearing daddies are awesome. In fact, baby daddy. I got a baby daddy. Oh my God. So anyway, baby wearing daddies are what prompted me to even want to do the hot daddy of the week, just to see pictures of daddies wearing babies at the grocery store, because to me that is just the hottest thing. And so now I can like go up to them at the grocery store and be like, excuse me, can I take a picture of your husband for my show? Because that's cool. It's for my show. It's for my show.
Really, I'm not stalking you.
Well, you know, like the daddy with the baby at the grocery store that's totally hot carrying the baby, that's like not the guy to hit on, by the way.
Yeah, no. He didn't have that baby by himself.
Right, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
But it's still an awesome thing to see. I love seeing it. I love it. All right, and before my kid... Okay, so my kiddo just brought his entire Lego set.
We love Legos.
Crew. So we're going to go do some Legos. So on that note, Zane, give me just a moment. My son is sick, and he's with me, and we're hanging out. So Modern Mommies is what we do. So I want to just say I am very pleased to say that that Soul Garden and the Superhero Children Project have just teamed up to bring the Superhero Children program online at soulmart.me. So it's for children ages 7 to 14, and it's an online class, and if you want to find out more about it, we're launching it February 18th. So go to soulmart.me or go to soulgarden.me, and you can find out more about it there. how to get your child involved in the Superhero Children program. Now I have a very loud and rowdy kid who totally deserves some mommy time. So wrap it up with that and say thank you so much, Mary, for joining us today. Jennifer, it is always a pleasure hanging out with you here. And we are going to be back next week at 6:30 p.m. Central, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Okay?
Yeah, we did
Any time zones.
And happy Love Fest Day. And
Yes.
to both of you.
Oh, yes. And don't worry if your computer items fail you the next 2 weeks. It's just happening. Mercury in retrograde. But until next Wednesday, namaste and live, love, be.